Hey everyone, so this is my review of Riverdale, Season 3, Episode 6, called Manhunter. And essentially what this episode is about is that Betty follows some leads to find the possible identity of the Gargoyle King. And while that's going on, Veronica ends up in some very hot water due to some things that she's doing to potentially prove Archie's innocence. And this was a really interesting episode that had a lot of really sort of good storylines mixed into it, that it did a nice job of navigating those sort of like four storylines and not get like too messy or mixed up or anything like that. It did a really nice job of sort of giving each of the four storylines their own time and stuff. And now everything with Betty in this episode was interesting, with her going and choosing to finally confront all their parents about what happened during the Midnight Club and trying to find a way to sort of navigate and try and find a potential lead of who the Gargoyle King might be among them. And it was interesting with what they did with them choosing to sort of put the blame on Dilton Doyle's father, who is the only one who's not around anymore. And that was interesting with what all happened there. With a lot of the evidence that was brought up was interesting, with it being said that it had to be Dilton Doyle's father who was the Gargoyle King, because that gives pretty good evidence of how Dilton Doyle ended up finding the game before anyone else. But then the truth coming out was really great, with it being revealed that Dilton Doyle's father didn't die under the circumstances that was put out to the public, as it being where it was believed that he died from sort of being asphyxiated by being locked in his car in a locked garage and stuff. And that ended up being revealed that that's not his real death, that he was actually poisoned by this plant. And I'm very interested to see what's going to happen there going forward, with Betty looking into that too, and why everyone sort of hid the truth about his death, where it looks like Penelope could have been the one to poison him because of the fact that that plant that he was poisoned with is one of the plants that she grows in her garden. And then Betty's own mother being the one who released the sort of fake story around how he supposedly died but not really. And then the sheriff being the one to sort of also hide the truth of how he died. And I'm just interested to see what's going to happen there. Then everything with Archie was great, with him working to try and find his own ways to prove himself innocent, as well as just get away. And how that all worked out was interesting, with him going back to try and confront the other people who sort of lied about him, and him going to the mines and stuff, but Hiram sort of getting there first and ended up killing all of them before they could say anything to Archie. And so now Archie's choosing to sort of run away and go into hiding and stuff, and I'm very interested to see what's going to happen there in the next episode, now that he is going to the farm. And just all that, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Archie's story next. Then everything with Jughead was interesting, with him going to go and try and find the Gargoyle King himself a different way, where he's going and trying to confront all these sort of other gargoyle members that he saw in the woods in the last episode. And him running into and confronting Joaquin because of that, and sort of learning more about all this different stuff through what Joaquin has learned in his time of playing the game. And that makes me very interested to sort of see what's going to happen with Jughead going forward too. And then everything with Veronica was interesting and a little weird, with what they chose to do with her going and finding this tape that sort of proves Archie's innocence, because of the fact that it clearly shows in this tape that the boys were coerced to change their stories to make it seem like Archie's guilty. And I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there now that the sheriff has been caught too. And the part that makes it really weird, and I really didn't like, is how much Hermione seems to be out of the picture in all this different stuff. That there's this war going on between Veronica and her father, and Hermione's just kind of on the sideline just figuring stuff out as she goes. And that really kind of bugs me, and I want to know how much of it is her potentially lying. What Hiram's story did to Veronica was interesting, with him having this alternate motive that if Veronica ever showed up at her mother's office alone, that she was supposed to be arrested on sight. And that I found very interesting, and I'm very curious to sort of see what's going to happen going forward now that, again, this tape is out there of this coercion and stuff, and I'm just really interested to sort of see what's going to happen in that dynamic between Veronica and her father now going forward, now that more has been revealed about her father's bad doings, kind of, or how they're eventually going to find it where Veronica is able to link everything that happened in this trial back to her father, potentially. And then just overall, this was a really entertaining and a great episode that had some interesting moments to it, but it definitely feels like it was a sort of setup episode. And I'm just really curious and excited to see what they're going to do going forward. So yeah, that's my review of Riverdale, Season 3, Episode 6, called Manhunter. So yeah, bye!